Sampurasun, tepangkeun kuastapun Sulastri. Konnichiwa, watashi no namae wa Jihan desu. Dozo yoroshiku onegai shimasu.
안녕하세요. 제 이름은 신디입니다. 반갑습니다.
Hello people, my name is Elfan Muhib Islam and enjoy the video.
Halo teman-teman, nama saya Hamid, jurusan Ilmu Administrasi Publik NPM 45 angkatan 2017.
According to Dunn theory, there are 5 stages in a cycle of public policies. 1. Agenda setting. In short, agenda setting is stage of making public formulation and policies easier.
Second stage is policy formulation. In policy formulation, all of the problems that are included in policy agenda then are discussed by the policy makers. These problems are then defined to find the best problem solving. After the second stage, we have the third stage, which is policy making. In policy making, all of the discussion about to test the acceptability of a policy and also the coordination between all policy actors are happening. After discussion and coordination, then come decision. Which alternatives should be chosen as the best solution to a policy issue?
The stage number 4, policy implementation. This is the stage where policy is then implemented by public sector or other external institution or organization.
The next is policy evaluation. So, after the policy has been implemented, evaluation is carried out to determine the effectiveness of the policy. And this evaluation have a function for decision maker as a guidelines for them to make a plan for what they do in the future. Whether this policy must be continued or dismissed is decided on this stage.
The process of making public policy is a complex process because it involves many processes and variables that must be examined. Therefore, some political experts who put an interest in examining public policy divide public policy-making process into several stages. The purpose of this division is to facilitate us in reviewing policy.
1. Agenda settings. There are many problems that are faced by the Indonesian nowadays. One of them is in the educational sector. The phenomenon that appears in the midst of society is that the quality of education in Indonesia is still considered low. This can be seen from the problems that arise, such as the high rate of illiteracy, the numbers of youth or teenagers who consume drugs, the acts of thuggery, and various other cases that are directly related to the lack of education. Education is indeed very important as stated in the Basis Regulation for Education in Indonesia, Article 31, Paragraph 1 of the 1945 Constitution states that every citizen has the right to receive teaching. Paragraph 2, the government undertakes and organizes a national teaching system regulated by law. Based on those articles, the government has to provide guidance and that the government has a mandate to guarantee the rights of citizens in obtaining education services, as well as to organize a national teaching system. The government's concern for education can also be seen in the large allocation of funds for education from the state budget. Although the importance of education has been widely known, unfortunately, there are still many people who think education is not the main thing in achieving welfare. The reason is because education still feels very expensive for some people whose lifeline is still below the poverty line, especially now that the government requires compulsory of 12 years of education. Aside from that, the government also does not fully oversee the allocation of funds. The allocation of funds must be truly felt by the community in order to achieve adequate education. Supposedly, education is not a difficult thing to get in the middle of a reform era like this. To overcome the various problems described above, the government has tried to implement various policies in the field of education, including the application of national culture and character education, improvement of teacher professionalism, curriculum renewal, and the implementation of the SM3T program, or also known as Scholars Educating Underdeveloped, Deepest, and Outermost Area. Policy formulation. factors that are involved in the formulation of educational policy are A. Legislatives. Legislative role is to ratify a rule in order to become a policy, such as laws, government regulations, and regional regulations. The legislators are at the level of the MPR, DPD, DPR, DPRD 1, and DPRD 2. B. Executives. Executives are the implementers of the law and at the same time do play a role in formulating policies with the legislatives. The executive actors in the education sector are the President, Minister of National Education, Minister of Religion, Director General, Head of Service, and Chancellor. C. Administrator. Public administrators are more involved in the formulation, implementation, and evaluation of public policy. The role of the administrator actors in the process of a policy will be determined by the carefulness and expertise in understanding and implementing these stages of the policy process formulated. D. Political parties. In Indonesia, the role of political parties is quite massive. Almost all sectors of policy, including in the education sector, will involve political parties. E. Interest group. Interest group is a group consisting of people who have the same interests and seeks to influence formal policy makers so that the group interests can be accommodated in the policies formulated. In education sector, there are educational interest groups such as groups of teachers, groups of academics, groups of volunteers with concern in education, and many more. F. Community organizations. CSOs are a group of people who have the same ideals and desires, non-political, although in their work they often come into contact with political interests. In Indonesia, there are several organizations that have a major influence in the formulation of education policies by governments such as NU, Muhammadiyah, IJMI, HMI, PMII, and KAHMI. G. College. College is an institution where academic elites are located and are often used as the spearhead in fighting for people's aspirations that will be included in the policy formulation. Good policy formulation should contain academic texts that are discussed with the academics in higher education. H. Individual figures. In various circumstances, individual figures play a vital role and are sometimes very decisive. Individual figures can come from various fields such as religion, politics, economics, education, culture, art, and etc. There are two alternative policies for educational policy. A. Changes in the curriculum. B. Trainings for the teachers. 3. Policy making. The basic policy in relation to the issue of the relevance of education can be stated as follows. Completion of compulsory of 12 years of education. The 4 pillars of education proposed by UNESCO in 1996, namely that education must be able to equip students with the ability to learn to work, or to learn to do something, to learn how to be themselves, and to learn on how to live in a community.
Implementation. Educational policy implementation. A. Strive to expand and equalize opportunities to obtain high-quality education for all Indonesians by significantly increasing the education budget. B. Increasing academic and professional abilities and improving the welfare of education personnel so that educators or teachers are able to function optimally. C. Reforming the education system, including curriculum, involved to serve the diversity of students, the preparation of applicable national and local curriculum in accordance with local interests, and the diversification of types of education in a professional manner. D. Empowering educational institutions, both schools and outside schools, as a center for civilizing values, attitudes, and abilities, and increasing family and community participation supported by adequate facilities and infrastructure. E. To renew and strengthen the national education system based on the principle of decentralization, scientific autonomy, and management. F. Improving the quality of educational institutions held both by the public and government, investing in the development of science, technology, and art. G. Developing the quality of human resources as early as possible in a directive so that the younger generation can develop optimally and get the right support and protection in accordance with their potential.
According to the theory, ulang-ulang.
Hello people, my name is Elfan.
Udah belum? Berdirinya nih. Udah disang-sangkan. Demi Allah. Ih, dasar.
Aneh. Aneh. Oke guys, jadi kita tuh lagi mau tag video. Aduh. Aduh, lagi apa Pak? Ini aduh, lagi apa?
Just prepare for our video.
Oh, oke. Ini orang-orang gila ya, aduh. Ngomong sendiri.
Malu banget ini rekam.
Ngomong. Ini. Orang mana nih? Korea. Saya mah Sunda.